Hello, fight fans, and welcome to the Main Event Podcast, Episode 2. I'm Seattle Mike of Fights with Friends. Please hit that like button if you like what we do here. Make sure you're subscribed and don't forget to ring that bell so you're notified whenever we drop a new video or go live for Fight Companions just about every weekend, guys. And now, 5 rounds in the heavyweight division of MMA news, action, and previews. Let's get it on. We start out today's action with a little bit of Black Beast. Derrick Lewis, not the guy you really want to mess with. Really not the guy you want to try to steal from. A Houston area man learned that lesson the hard way as the USC heavyweight posted a video on his Instagram account of the alleged thief being arrested by local police. It was captioned, "Mofo picked wrong car to break into." And then Lewis put his moniker on it, "He's okay." Not so sure the guy was okay. In addition to sharing photo and video of the suspect and police on the scene, Lewis showed the damage done to his vehicle and revealed bruises on his knuckles in an Instagram story. Houston Police Department Public Information Officer Jody Silva confirmed to MMAfighting.com that Lewis apprehended the suspect when he returned from a workout and heard banging noises on the driver's side of his vehicle. Mr. Lewis says he went over to the suspect, struck him, placed him on the ground until the police arrived, Silva said. That's the nicest way to put it. The suspect was then taken to the hospital and then booked on a charge of criminal mischief on Tuesday afternoon. Guys, I want to know what you guys think. Should this guy even be prosecuted? You think he's probably learned his lesson? Imagine you go over and touch some dude's car and you get knocked out by a 280-pound superhuman. I doubt that this guy will be trying to jack any more cars anytime soon. And now for the first round of MMA trivia. Our first trivia question of the night. Iron Mike Tyson returns in September against this former champion. What former champion does Iron Mike Tyson return against in September? And this will be a familiar opponent for Mr. Tyson. He faced him once before in Memphis, Tennessee in 2002. It will be former champion Lennox Lewis. All right, guys, let's go into round number 2. Round number 2 this weekend at UFC 263, Charles Oliveira defeated Michael Chandler to get the vacant UFC lightweight champion that was vacated by former champion Khabib Nurmagomedov. This video credit to Zuffa LLC, UFC, and all of its subsidiaries. Charles Oliveira had been on a 9-fight winning streak since having not such a great MMA record before that. Michael Chandler, of course, was coming over as the 3-time Bellator former champion, and this was his second fight in Bellator. In other action at UFC, Tony Ferguson and Beneil Dariush got it on. Tony Ferguson got quite the ovation from the fans. there at this event. Unfortunately, it was not enough for El Cucuy to overcome the jiu-jitsu mastery of Beneil Dariush. At 37 years old, Tony Ferguson has quite a few questions to answer at 37 years old. Dana White, when asked about Ferguson, said, "I don't know if it was the Gaethje fight that broke him or age, but something happened to Tony." Tony responded with saying, "I'm not going anywhere. I will not quit. Now I'm pissed." Beneil Dariush commented on how he had no idea how Tony Ferguson didn't tap to a heel hook. Beneil Dariush said he heard the ankle of Ferguson pop. Ferguson was able to land some up kicks from the ground to get out of the position, miraculously finish the fight, but that will not help Tony Ferguson in the longevity of his career. We hope he heals quickly. Now let's go to the lightweight rankings as a very happy Charles Oliveira becomes our new champion. Dustin Poirier stays at number 1. Justin Gaethje sitting in that number 2 spot, so he could face the champion before the winner of Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor, who moves up to number 5. Beneil Dariush moves up 6 points all the way to number 3 after the victory against Tony Ferguson. Conor McGregor moves up 1 spot to number 5. Ferguson moving down just 1 to 6. Diego Ferreira, notable, also moving up 1, and Gregor Gillespie each moved up 1. Despite Gregor Gillespie defeating Diego Ferreira in their last event. And in other news from this last Saturday's UFC, in Fight of the Night, Edson Barbosa knocked out Shane Burgos. And man, this was a crazy fight, guys, and a little scary. A little scary because when Edson Barbosa hit Shane Burgos the very last time, Burgos had a bit of a delayed reaction and then he just went out. And it's not completely unlike something that I've seen before. There was a similar reaction, if you might remember, when Mike Tyson hit Trevor Berbick to become the youngest heavyweight champion of the world. While Berbick stayed conscious, he had a delayed reaction from a temple shot and then fell into each corner of the ring trying to get up as the referee chased him around the ring to count. Shane Burgos was immediately rushed to the hospital on the orders of President Dana White and is expected to make a full recovery. And for round 2 of MMA trivia, this MMA personality hosts the show Morning Combat. What MMA personality hosts the show Morning Combat, which you can find on YouTube and wherever you download podcasts? Give you guys just another second. He used to be the host of MMA Fighting. Also does some work with Showtime. That's going to be Mr. Luke Thomas. All right, guys. Heading into round 3 of action. The UFC fans have returned for major pay-per-view events, which made a lot of us wonder, are we getting fight nights with fans? As of this moment, Dana White says no. And I'm going to quote the boss here. He said, "We're not even looking at fight nights for fans." UFC President Dana White said on Saturday, We didn't even have gates in our budget until October and November. Right now, to start saying we're going to try to find places for fight nights, it makes no sense. We'll stay at the cozy UFC Apex and do our thing the rest of the year, I think. The UFC has held the vast majority of its events at its own facility in Las Vegas since May of 2020. As of now, the only upcoming cards slated for outside that venue are UFC 263 in Glendale, Arizona, and UFC 264 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. In different circumstances, Charles Oliveira's lightweight title win at UFC 262 would have set the stage for a big card in Brazil headlined by DWARD. For now, White and the UFC are taking a measured approach regarding the promotion's travel plans, even as the world begins to relax restrictions. And in continuing with fans in MMA fights, some good news. Welcome back, fans, to Bellator. Starting June 11th, Bellator 260, and June 25th, Bellator 261. Douglas Lima defending his welterweight world championship against Yaroslav Amosov. And then Bellator 261, Johnson versus Moldavsky on June 25th. Tickets for that event start this Friday, May 21st at 10 a.m. and can be purchased through Ticketmaster. Both events will be held at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. Sorry guys, bit far for me to travel from Seattle. I was really hoping for the UFC fight night since it's been really hard to get tickets to the UFC pay-per-views. And with that, we go to round 3 of MMA trivia. All right, guys. DARRION Caldwell will be fighting on this Friday's Bellator card. What fighter knocked DARRION Caldwell out of the Bantamweight Grand Prix? That Grand Prix is still going on, but DARRION Caldwell, the former champion, has been knocked out. What fighter knocked him out of the Bellator Grand Prix? This is a young fighter, young up-and-coming stud. Those are my Bellator fans out there. All right, guys, the answer is AJ McKee. AJ McKee. His father fought in MMA for years, many years, and he actually came back so he could fight on a card with his son a little over a year ago. AJ McKee is set to fight for the title next in the Grand Prix finale. And now, guys, MMA news round 4, and we're going to go into previews. Let's preview this Friday's Bellator card. Bellator 259 features a main event of Chris Cyborg versus Leslie Smith. This is a rematch. Also, a co-main event of Fabian Edwards, the younger brother of Leon Edwards, and Austin Vanderford, the husband of MMA and bare knuckle star Paige Van Zandt. We will be doing a full fight companion for Bellator 259. So I hope you'll join us I hope you will join us this Friday for a full Bellator fight companion. And now for MMA trivia round 4. This fighter recently coined the phrase Dana White privilege. And I have to say, I really like this saying. He was talking about a fighter, a new addition to the UFC. And if you haven't got it yet, this fighter was talking about former Bellator champion Michael Chandler coming in and getting a title shot he felt he deserved some time ago. This former interim champion, of course, El Cucuy, Tony Ferguson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the main event of the evening, round 5. Let's preview this weekend's UFC card, Cody Garbrandt versus Rob Font. Guys, Cody Garbrandt making his return after a long time out of the cage against top-ranked Rob Font. This should be a great card. Big Ben Rothwell comes back against Chris Barnett. No relation, as far as I know, to Josh Barnett. But at one time, I'm sure that would have been an absolutely great matchup. And then Edmund Shabazian, the young prodigy, the young judo prodigy, comes back against veteran Jack Hermanson in a middleweight bout. And that middleweight division, there's not a lot of challengers left for champion Israel Adesanya. So the winner of this, you would think, has got to be right in the mix. Depending on how this fight goes, they could be one win away from a title shot themselves. And now for the 5th and final round of MMA Combat Trivia. This commentator famously called Muhammad Ali truculent. Ali said, "I don't know what that means, but if that's good, I'm that." This commentator famously called Muhammad Ali truculent. Ali said, "I don't know what that means, but if that's good, I'm that." This commentator was very good friends with Muhammad Ali and actually never commentated another fight after Muhammad Ali versus Trevor Berbick. That commentator was Howard Cosell. Howard Cosell. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for the second ever episode of the Main Event Podcast. I hope you guys like the direction that this podcast is going in. Please leave your suggestions down below. If there's anything you would like to see in the podcast, somebody mentioned they would like a little lo-fi music in the background. So, Zoltan, there you go. Want to give a special shout out to all our premium members: Greg Brimstone, Milton Nelson, PBR Street Gang, Arcade Chaos, Billy Hughes, Brock Ellery, John Coffey, Phil D187, and Chef Johnson. Again, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the Main Event Podcast, and I plan on doing one of these every single week, guys. Until next time, as always, I love you, I respect you, and I'll see your fine asses next time.